I'm here with Saturnal Mage, our Ease Il Wuv Jif Vosug Eve Nu Ua and
Mary. Maybe not. She's leaving.
Okay. And so what are your initial thoughts on the whole solstice and stuff going on this time of year?
I think it's supposed to, but capitalism would have you believing otherwise.
Yeah.
There's no old man with reindeers that fly.
I don't know. There's some mushrooms out there that people claim you see them.
And if your snowman is singing and dancing and walking, then it's probably possessed.
So something that relates to this is, are you familiar with Shemyaza, or or in biblical speak, Shammy Chiza, which means
Hebrew?
Naming the vision.
No.
I don't call it Hebrew because, but
I would like to know that language, but I don't.
I call it Aramea because the ancient people called it Aramea. It wasn't until Jews were the only ones passing on stuff in the similar language that they started calling it that. But Hebrews,
I don't know any of that language, but I think that it'd be really important.
And no, I don't. No, I do not think that the red thread will protect me. But so this is the. I mean, there's other variations of this of the symbol. So, and we'll get into that more when we talk about the verses and stuff. But I thought I'd talk about my seasonal stuff. So in the dark quarter of the year, I have this bear sort of ring here. Bear claw and like, I don't know, like some twisted thing or something. I don't know what this stuff's going on.
Those silverware rings.
What?
You know, the rings made of like silverware handles kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
And my snowflake obsidian here, if I can get it to reflect. Yeah.
Oh, is that what that is?
Because you see there's a little bit of white, there's a little white little.
Yeah, I thought it was like
bits in the black.
Smoky quartz or something.
So
also could have been rhodonite.
So the Lizavuma chant for this year's Yule is Dezo. Sorry about that. Dezo befozed her often vul zu fu z. And you see that in the red writing. So what do you think? What does that make you think of?
Honestly, nothing in particular, because I don't really know what like words I'm listening to. I don't know.
Well, it always includes something to do with the date.
Oh, the red writing using your sensitivity. That?
Oh, the questions. You want to answer the questions. So the solar question, as in the day, which, you know, Monday, December 21st, 5:30 a.m. Pacific time is the cross quarter. And so traditionally these would be celebrated by societies the nearest sunset to that. So the Pacific coast, that would be, you know,
your camera is tripping out, I'm just gonna say.
On the Pacific coast, that would probably, depending on how far north or south you are, that depends, you know, it'd probably be around, you know, so Monday night, but most people, it would be Sunday night.
Your camera is zooming in and out, possibly showing things. Parts of the corner of the room.
Well, I specifically arranged this, so it's
okay.
It'll be
Just letting you know.
fine.
All right. Yeah, there it
Um,
goes again. It's like
Yeah.
caught a part of the wall or something, or a door. I don't know.
So,
Anyway.
so since the night comes before the day and the moon's definitely out,
Yeah, I'll have
what
to go
are
see it.
your chosen patterns? Or what are your choice patterns? Well, same thing.
Rephrase the question.
You know, patterns is as in sequences, things that repeat themselves.
Is the full moon coming?
Yeah, well, it's a waxing moon. It's a waxing moon, and that is technically part of the chant there. I don't know what Dezo and Befo and Zud and her. What does her mean? I think her is an actual word, but
Maybe
continue
it's
to talk
talking
while I'm
about
looking this
the
up.
coming
What?
of the menstrual cycle at the end of the month.
Are you using your sensitivity to appreciate humanity?
I think so. For me, that would mean
Okay,
being kind to others and just doing the little things.
there's
even
no
though it's
E at the end, but Hree is feminine beauty, feminine authority, feminine. Yeah.
feminine authority could be like my menstrual cycle coming. Most people's menstrual cycles coming. I don't know. At the end of the month, it's like a winter full moon extravaganza with the womanhood.
So
It's the
particularly,
last period of the year.
you wanted to know about this, and yes, we'll get to each of these things, but that is basically a way of drawing out the sky.
I thought it looked a little bit like an astrological sign there at the end. The M.
Yeah, so the
cat
sun,
head.
the sun's the circle and the dot, and yeah, we'll get into that. But so move on to the poems of the seasons.
Okay.
Let me. I'm not doing too well with this today. But okay. Depths of bounty, never spent. Wearing wisdom, courtesy, endurance, strength, honor, poetry and prose, beauty, nobility and silence. The veil is rent. We are warmed with the fallen upon what was sent. Take us upon the night ride to awaken beyond repentance and this moment as light, love, and life. Like the hibernating animals below and the scavengers above. I'm sorry, I messed up. We prepare for this moment as light, love, and life. In the negation, identification, and I can't read my writing in this.
I can't read your writing either. No, I'm just kidding. No, a little bit.
And connection, probably. Beyond the limited strife, each is unique in their extrasensory perception that encounters statecraft and priestcraft after its endowment from the infernal. Cardinal fire will be healed by fixed water if our drive is progressively towards change with increasing reflection in the ever-renewing sapiential and sciential traditions. Air is muted by each awakener to a view beyond the persona. The future is cardinal earth as the shadow creeps out anew. But be sure your artful journey can be through. Perceptions of leadership can bind you like glue. Projections of purity and meditation can be a means to renew. Fixed and mutable fire have kept us apart. The actual message and experience is more important in the sacred arts. Our reputation, if it differs from our true self, it can dart 397 years as fixed air. This king takes up his part. And so I've of course included things related to my selections and verses that I have there, things that relate to the season, things that relate to what you have down below. And I think
It
maybe
definitely felt like you're describing like a snow embankment with hibernation and all that at the beginning.
and sapiential and sciential are basically wisdom and knowledge traditions, but it kind of clarifies it to some people. So, I mean, using those words. Like, for example, you have in Hinduism, you have the Shruti and the Smriti. So you have the revelation and the inspiration. So there's a difference there. So that's the sort of thing. But the wisdom
You look
tradition.
like Captain Hook right now.
Okay. Except without the hook. But the wisdom tradition continues for each individual. As society spreads out, the spiritual teachings or whatever is something that people can, new circumstances, new this and that, and further explanations and all that.
Kitty.
Now, of course, as we've gone over before, the different symbolism is under one's control. It's like what's another way that people get, because Pluto wasn't there a conjunction with Pluto, the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, weren't they conjuncted with Pluto earlier?
I don't know.
So, but I mean, there's nothing like that says, oh, and Draco is sort of the quadrant thing. When, so somebody could say something like, let me think, when the king and the priest join in the hunt of the goat.
The Hunt of the Goat.
I'm not coming up with a good poem to
That sounds quite intricate. I like goat.
Goat's not too bad of meat.
Ew, no, not like that.
Oh no, I didn't mean that at all. No, I meant like food. But
I've had lamb before. And
Pluto's
all
seen
right.
as the king of the underworld, and people like literally think that right now the Antichrist is going to pop up tomorrow night or Monday night or something.
It's coming. It's just probably not going to be such a sudden time range. But then again, who really knows?
Well, one of the things, it's a lot of people want to do something. Somebody pulls it off. So all these people, particularly, it's like, oh, I'll have subscribers by the millions if I'm the Antichrist. So I want to be the Antichrist. Well, I don't think it's necessarily limited to this anti-Christ bit. I think that's a limited understanding of the whole thing. But
No matter what we do, I think people want to see the cat.
and so the chant that pertains to this, particular, not the season, but the entity that's sort of the head of what we're responding to, I guess, is Vumzum Wapso Ksz Muzvakas
Marby.
Husvan
Marby's
Bazaz.
intently listening.
What?
I said Marby is intently listening.
Okay. Zamvi Lem Yamiga Lear. And so basically, between hell and heaven, we have some of these other words. So we have Zubvi is air, isn't it?
What's the whole like between heaven and hell place called, like Hades? What is that about?
Well, in the afterlife, you don't necessarily, yeah, that Zubvi is air. But we're talking about like the sort of male and that claim it's basically like demiurgic forces, not a creator, but kind of like a being that's going to consider itself to be a god, because certainly some of the fallen angels, which we'll get to that point, have been basically the entities considering themselves. So the beyond repentance thing, Yamiga means the personal power, but beyond repentance can be in a couple different contexts. You have the there's more to life than just, okay, I've made a mistake and now I have to not make the mistake. So being beyond repentance is getting past that step and actually getting something done. But
do you think there is such thing beyond, like, do you think that like someone could mess up the most out of anybody in the whole world? You think they'd still be forgiven?
Well, whichever side you're going to take, I think it's obvious that as long as you're alive, you can still make sort of a switch. I saw this video. Yeah. This guy thinks that everything he's ever worshipped is with him forever. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think you're trapped like that. I think that you can change your religion or spirituality or whatever you want to call it at any time, really. Which is why we got to be careful of what we program ourselves towards, because this is not good.
I like to try to remind myself from time to time. I have to ask myself, well, within what I'm doing, who am I serving by doing these things? Am I serving God? Am I serving Satan? Gotta get real with myself.
And
that betters my life in ways to look at it that way. Marby's gonna leave me. Oh man, Marby.
One of the most obvious things that people don't really quite get is the whole people think that can be beyond morality.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. We're only human.
And like nothing matters. It's all just because something becomes more popular doesn't make it right. Or legal doesn't make things right. It's like there was a song I used to listen to when I was a kid, Ice Cube. And in the middle of this song, Ice Cube was singing about getting a woman that he knew in high school drunk. But if she was 20 rather than 21, it's like it doesn't become right just because somebody turned 21 to get them drunk so you can have relations with them.
Right.
I mean, if it's wrong before, it's wrong after. If it's not wrong after, but I mean, you can keep the law of your country. You don't have to necessarily agree with it. I'm not saying that at all. It's usually not productive to break the law. But one of the myths, I guess, connected to this is the time. There's different time involved in this different
Yeah.
There's different perceptions of time and different things you can do with time if you know times. Like people will say, well, with astrology, people think, oh, you can't do this spiritual operation unless there's like this, that, and the other. And if it's a holiday, that's one thing. It's another thing if you're waiting around for this planet to be in this constellation and the other planet to be in the, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty crazy though.
And in a way, it's something to keep
Assuming
yourself.
that space is real, because I mean, I've personally never seen it, so it's harder to believe.
You've never seen what?
Beyond the realm of our space. You know, if there's like other solar systems.
Oh, other solar systems. Well, a lot of the stuff goes kind of too far. It's like the moon's fake, and yeah, a lot of stuff is real, and but some of these pictures where they try to make the moon look, the moon and the sun and all the planets line up in one little bit, and they put it all in one graphic. That doesn't mean that there's some photo from NASA. All sorts of people, I've had people referred me to pictures. It's like, no, those are computer graphics. That's why you can see through the, you know, it's not the planets are all going to collide, you know, because it's like, it's almost ready to happen. They're keeping it a secret. That's, I guess, the type of cat we got around here. We got a couple of them. So what's your opinion of the, what do you think about the symbol in the middle? Are you there?
Interesting. Okay.
So the symbol that you see there on this in the screen.
It's like a two eyeballs with a, what's that type of clock called?
Hourglass?
Yes.
But they're not all like, none of them are hourglasses. Have you ever seen one that's more than like 15 minutes or something?
I think that hourglass ones are like really rare because they're huge. I've seen it maybe in like a movie or something.
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz or something.
But not in real life. You know, I have the minute or 2 minute timers that come with games, or like,
yeah,
I bought a
I
couple. I bought one that's like 15 minutes and the other one's like 20 minutes, I think, or
the
no,
little
I think
ones
it's
are
like
good for
10
getting
minutes.
into the habit of brushing your teeth thoroughly. Usually for children, but I'm like a giant child, so.
But I kind of see that it's like there's eyeballs in an hourglass, and it's and you got like arrows going through it. So you have sort of a sort of a plant thing, and then you have like lightning bolts. So it's kind of like some sort of arrangement.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
So it's kind of like you have forces of nature.
Forces in nature?
Forces of nature, wood, metal, and animal because the eyeballs.
You know what animal doesn't get enough attention, enough praise? The donkey, especially the one from Shrek.
Okay.
That's my favorite donkey. Okay.
I am.
Oh, are we?
So before we resume here, I have found what I want to burn outside.
You want to burn something outside?
Well, if I'm doing my solstice rite outside, I figured this is going to be the object that I use. So among the symbol and all the contemplation and all this stuff, there's going to be,
Is it your corn doll?
No, it's like a made in China, like nutcracker like dude.
Oh.
See?
Well, it's hard to see because of the background imagery, but yeah, I can kind of tell. Oh yeah, I can see it now. And what will that be symbolic of?
What?
What will burning the Nutcracker Man be symbolic of?
Well, as I've said in the was it the one message? Okay. There are two names for it. In Avestan, it's called Yalda, and the solstice is called Raji et Ezi. And these are names of the solstice. And so I thought maybe to mix in something Yazidi Yatus related with that, and talk about their myth of the connecting of the fire and the clay beings, and sort of make it a peak of the ceremony, more or less.
Yeah.
But the old man in the north sort of ideas. It's thought that Satan dwells on water. So there's two, but particularly in the north.
In or on? I don't understand that.
Like Satan has a throne on water, like either in the North Pole or over in the South Pacific, or both.
You mean Santa could be Satan?
Well,
think about that.
European mythology,
because they're taking the focus away from Jesus and putting it on Santa.
Well,
isn't Santa an anagram for Satan?
Yes, it is, of course, but yes,
Maybe
who's that guy that was church lady
Antarctica.
On SNL? What?
Maybe Antarctica is where Satan lives, because in the 50s the German went out there during an expedition and they came back with a bunch of damaged ships and half dead soldiers, and the person leading the expedition, although damaged in some kind of battle, said that it was a paradise out there and that it was the most amazing thing on earth they'd ever seen. But there are no reports on what exactly that meant, at least not released to the public. So look that up. German expedition to Antarctica.
Well, in European, even south of the equator, the myth was still North Pole. That there was an entity at the north. I think even some South African stuff was saying North Pole, but it was also like the antipode.
Oh, and isn't there that hole up there? There's like some giant hole. Either you can or can't see it on Google Earth, but there's some giant hole up there. I don't know.
Well, there's some blackout spots, and there's stuff that you can't really see from the sky, as well as if you're on the ground and looking over.
What do you think's up with the monolith stuff? Speaking of landmarks.
I don't know what people are trying to accomplish. The one was made so much better than the other, so people could have just hack-eyed, let's do this.
I know that almost that like same type of landscape where the first black one was found is also in one of those old movies with the apes. It's like literally a scene from that movie. So either people are replicating certain messages from movies, or I don't know.
Well, there's
Maybe
something I've hinted at. If we end up doing a video, doing one of these things, find me another LDS church, and I'll tell you about the Rameumptom, the Holy
Okay.
Stand. I'll connect it to stuff that very few LDS people would know about because they don't know the language and some of the culture that could be referred to it. But basically, like some middle pillar sort of rite, but not middle pillar for God, middle pillar for the other, and yeah.
Okay.
So there could it could be just some pop culture thing, but a lot of stuff in pop culture ends up being, it comes from somewhere, some sort of experience somebody had, or they've found information and decided to encode it and stuff.
Well, it's like they say, history repeats itself over and over and over and over.
As I pointed out with Howard Phillips Lovecraft, is Lovecraft wanted to represent religion, and at the same time he had all sorts of horrible nightmares and stuff. So some of the horrible beasts that he encountered, like Nyarlathotep and Cthulhu, were actually from his visions. But we don't know how much was dream, how much was fiction, but he put stuff together anyways. So he was very knowledgeable and what? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. There was internet connection unstable.
Yeah. I was just saying, what was I saying? Oh, he was a person that had, was it a he or she, Lovecraft?
Howard Phillips Lovecraft was a male.
But yeah, maybe they're just like, they're having prophetic dreams or visions.
Well, that's again one of the points with these things is that, okay, these various entities people call gods and goddesses, and the Bible has Jesus say, are you ye or God, that sort of thing. So a person can be that same type of being, but it's the fallen angel myth. It's, well, those beings are demons, but
Yeah.
it can be said that a whole bunch of demons will call their own what?
Isn't Cthulhu like a creature from the water?
Yeah.
And Satan's supposed to live on water. And aliens and UFOs have been seen going in and out of the oceans. I'm just saying. I'm also just saying my computer gave me a low battery warning. I have 14% though.
Okay. Let me for a moment bring you to Cthulhu land with my with my meme.
Okay.
Which you can't see too well with that, but why vote the lesser of two evil? Why vote for the lesser evil? 2020, no more years, and the great old ones were, the old ones are, the old ones shall. Okay, okay.
Put a piece of paper up over it.
But it has the
there you go. Yeah.
So it has the quote, and from his place, sleeping and all that.
It's interesting how a lot of people in politics are very, very old, like 70s, 80s.
I mean, I'm not saying that Lovecraft isn't fictionalized stuff, because it's, Okay. So I guess I will go over in detail the the bottom part. So we have
Okay.
6 degrees, 11 minutes. The lunar modes. You see the thing that looks like a pair of tongs. So the two
What's 11
down.
minutes mean?
Well, you divide each 12th of the sky into like 30 minutes. So the lunar modes, people generally believe that the lunar nodes indicate the future and the past. Mercury being the message. Mercury's like right next to the sun, by the way. And then on the other side of the
Mercury.
sun is Pluto. And then you have Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, waxing moon.
I saw a very old glass mug today, and across the top it said the Massachusetts College of Technology or something like that. But on the other side, it just said Mercury. I found that to be odd. I almost bought it, but I didn't.
Well, hopefully it wasn't used to store mercury.
Yeah.
Um,
It was like a drinking glass, but I thought how peculiar just to have the word Mercury on the other side of that. Maybe it was somebody's last name. I don't know.
I'm itching on the screen. But the so Mars, the ascending mode, Uranus, and on the other side of the sun, again you have the lunar node, Venus descending, the center of the LC's like the center of the sky, I guess. So yeah, Taurus, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. I said, the double wave thing with the water. Pisces and Aries. So I guess it's
you
on.
left mine out.
I'm okay. I've did this at the time orders. Not pause and let you respond to as many of these as we're going to get into.
Okay. Which ones? You want me to read a portion?
So
or?
Genesis 6, 1 through 4 is one of the more iconic passages that addresses the whole thing. Okay. So
I remember reading that, and I remember feeling great importance to it, and yet for some reason I can't remember a word of it right now.
When men began to increase on earth and daughters were born to them, the divine beings saw how beautiful the daughters of men were and took wives from among them that pleased them. God, as a noun and verb, said, "My breath shall not abide in humanity forever. Since he too is flesh, let the days allowed him be 120 years." And it was then, later too, that the fallen appeared on earth, when the divine beings cohabited with the daughters of men, who bore them offspring, and they were heroes of old, the men of renown. There's an idea of children that aren't quite physical. You know what I mean? Did I lose you? I can't see the screen of this. So I guess I will let the audience figure this out as we go along. So next we have Daniel 10, 13. Respond as you will. However, the prince of the Persian kingdom opposed me for 21 days. Now Michael, a prince of the first rank, has come to my aid after I was detained there with the kings of Persia. And so that's it from Tanakh as far as fallen angel verses. So whatever you believe about these verses and what you're going to do with them, that's, well, up to you. But so I'm going to hypnotically induct myself by saying these things in Aramea, and now we're on to Greek. So the black verses, the yellow verses here. So 12, 8 through 9 of Revelations. And not they prevailed, nor the place was found there any more in heaven, and was cast out the dragon, great, the serpent ancient, who is called the devil and the Satan, who misleads the habitable whole world, the habitable whole. He was cast into the earth, and his angels with him were cast. Now, the Sha'etan myth of the Yazidi cast out for not doing obeisance to Adam, and but we have implication here maybe that the devil is different than the Satan. Of course, Satan could have an agent, and that's why people talk about Lucifer the way they do. So Ahriman and Malak Taus can be thought of in that way. We have Luke 10:18. And he said to them, I beheld Satan as lightning out of the heaven falling. Jude 1:6. And these symbols can be towards your own ends as well. 1:6 kind of didn't do as well with this program. I'm sorry about that. Angels and they who kept not their own first estate, but left their own dwelling into the judgment of the great day, and bonds eternal under darkness he keeps. It's kind of a dramatic one. We got Peter, Timothy, James, John, Peter, okay, Peter. 2 Peter 2:4. For if God, the angels who sinned, spared not, but to chains of darkness, having cast them to the deepest abyss, delivered them for judgment, having been kept. So they can still access their own realms, but they're not done for yet, are they? Corinthians. We're in Corinthians 6:3, aren't we? 2 Corinthians. No, 1 Corinthians 6:3. Not knowing ye that the angels we shall judge much more than things of this life. And yeah, if they've had respite, they've been around a long time to get things done according to what they wanted to get things done. So if they're going to be judged by whether there's thought to be authority over them or not, there's some stuff that's going to go down. Is there Matthew 25? I forget because there's different versions of the Bible, right? So 25, and I've seen different manuscripts. 41. They will he say also to those on the left, Go from me, the cursed, into the fire, the eternal, which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. Romans. So Romans, but prepared by who, right? Send the Romans 8. Yeah, I always have some bookmark in 8, don't I? So 8, 37, 39. But in these things all the more, and overcome through him who loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to be, nor height, nor depth, nor any created thing other will be able us to separate from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus, Lord. Or okay, so that's definitely the Christian response to that. But in a way, we need to be independent of the, the externals. And by demiurge is meant not, linguistically is meant not really not really a creator, but created things that are taking that place. So we're in 2 Corinthians 10, 4 through 5. For the arms of warfare of ours is not fleshly, but powerful through God to overthrow of strongholds, reasonings, overthrowings, and every high thing, lifting itself up against this knowledge of God, and leading captive every thought into the obedience of Christ. And Ephesians 6:12. I want to have bookmarks with this so I can go quicker with the actual performance. Because is not to us the wrestling against blood and flesh, but against principalities, against authorities, against the world rulers of darkness of age, against the spiritual powers of wickedness in the heavenlies. So there's different heavens, as you could call them. And we're back to 1 Corinthians. $15.79. Well, we'll see. Okay, no, there's not 79. So what's the number? 22. Okay, that makes more sense. For since by man is death, also by man resurrection of the. Oh wait, no. As for in Adam all die, so also in Christ all should be made alive. And Ephesians 2:2. In which ones ye walked according to this age of this world, according to the ruler of the authority of the air, and the spirit that now works in the sons of disobedience. And it said that Shemichuzah is an entity, Shemyaza, or however you're going to pronounce it in your language, is an entity that has 200 main followers, I guess. 1765. Okay, they served it. But over my true servants you shall have no power. Your Lord will be their all-sufficient guardian. Okay, yeah. Inna ebadi lace. Yeah. Got the right one there. So our free will is our free will. And that's one of the points that regardless of what side you're going to take with all this, one's got to. When we said to the angels, you know, the light beings, prostrate yourselves before Adam, they all prostrated themselves except Satan, who was of the fire beings, this, you know, the jinn, disobedient to his Lord. Would you then serve him and his offspring as your masters rather than myself, despite their enmity toward you? A sad substitute the wrongdoers have chosen. Now, a lot of people have been pulling this garbage that, you know, if you're praying to an entity, don't pretend you're not worshiping it. If you're, especially these people who like cut themselves and whatnot, it's like, is that invoking and evoking? Now, evoke the people evoke whatever's present. That's one thing. But when you're calling it from somewhere else and it's not physically there, it's not like you're using a telephone. You're performing a ritual and expecting the spirits to pass the word on that, oh yeah, this guy wants this spirit. So just admit, if you're worshiping something, you're worshiping something. 2:30. When your Lord said to the angels, I am placing on the earth one that shall rule as my deputy. They replied, will you put there one that will do evil and shed blood, when we have for so long sung your praises and sanctified your name? And 15, Surah 15. But the light beings don't have a choice. So the human being has a choice. $15, $16, is that what I put there? Oh, 36, I would think. Let me double check here. We got Allah Rabbi Fanzerni Elayam. Okay. Begone, you are cursed till judgment day. So God definitely does some cursing, or the entity that's called God, if you're going to think that way. But so 3882. Begone, you are cursed, he said, my curse shall remain on you until the day of reckoning. There's that talk about Satan the stoned, and that's one of the things we get into saying here. We have, there's a reference here. Let me get the word right. The Pa'iri Kanamcha, or Pa'irika. So the female demon, the reference to the female demon in terms of, yeah. So there's that whole idea of the female demons and the astral realm, because they particularly can dwell among the stars and that sort of thing. 297. to 103. Say, the whole Michael thing that we encountered earlier. Say, whoever is an enemy of Gabriel. Whoever is an enemy of God, his angels, or his apostles, or Gabriel, or Michael, will surely find that God is an enemy of the unbelievers. So whoever's okay, let me get this one right. Or is an enemy of Gabriel and something? Okay, yeah. We have sent down to you clear revelations. None will deny them except the evildoers. What? Whenever they make a covenant? Must. Some of them cast it aside. Most of them are unbelievers. Now that the apostles come to you from God, confirming their own scriptures, some of those to whom the scriptures were given cast off the book of God behind their backs, as though they knew nothing. And except that which the devils tell of Solomon's kingdom, not that Solomon was an unbeliever. It is the devils who are unbelievers. They teach men witchcraft and that which was revealed to the angels, Harut and Marut, in Babylon. Yet they never instruct any man without saying to him beforehand, "You've been sent to tempt you, do not renounce your faith." From these two they learned a charm by which they can create discord between husband and wife, although they can harm none with what they learn except by God's leave. And one of the things that I don't mean to interrupt in the middle of the verse, but as I say, we have our choice. There's not beings overriding our free will. Now, if we die, we die. That's different. But certain laws have been established in the universe, and if we fall under the effect of certain laws, then that's, through our choice. They learn indeed what harms them and does not profit them, yet they know full well that anyone who engaged in this traffic would have no share in the life to come, vile as that for which they have sold their souls. But if they but knew, had they embraced the faith and kept from evil, far better would have been for them. God's reward would have been, if they but knew it. Believe. Okay, that was okay. 66:6. Oh, which is very interesting. You got 666. Yeah. Oh, believers, guard yourself and guard your kindred against a fire fueled with men and stones, in charge of fierce and mighty angels who never disobey God's command and promptly do their bidding. And 1649. I should have done this program at a time where I was not so tired, and I guess with my guest as well. God has said, "You shall not serve two gods, for he is but one God. Fear none but me." That doesn't sound like what we're trying to say. Did they not see? Okay, no, that's not it. Oh, 50. No. Did not see how every object. Oh, to God bows all the creatures of the heavens and the earth, and the angels too. They are not disdainful. They fear their Lord on high and do as they are bidden. Okay. So let me say the chant here again. Well, let me. The Shemyaza chant. Bum zum wapso kz waz husband bazaz zimli lam yamiga lear. And the seasonal chant, which is more general. Zubfuzid herqafan vul zfu